Hey, what's going on guys? My name is KarQ and welcome to another session of the Acer Predator training room for Overwatch. In today's segment, we're going to go over how to make the most out of each life you have in a game of Overwatch. So let's begin. Every time you start a game of Overwatch, a great mindset to follow is to minimize your deaths as much as possible. Sounds obvious, right? But many players really do underestimate how much their life really means and how much value you bring to a team by simply existing. Being alive brings presence because you are always a potential threat. For example, if you're alive as Tracer, enemy players such as Zenyatta or McCree are on high alert because the former can be one-clipped easily and the latter has the job of eliminating you with the flashbang headshot combo. Simply existing or being alive and blinking around the enemy backline can grab the attention of two enemy players, and the psychological influence this brings may perhaps cause Zenyatta to miss out on potential discords, harmony orbs, and lower his effectiveness compared to a scenario where you're dead. Once you die, that tension is off for the enemy and they can focus on the rest of your teammates, and that's not ideal. Dying less naturally allows you to be an effective player because you have more total uptime participating in the match compared to someone who spends the majority of the game staring at the death screen. If you're wondering why you can't climb the ranks in competitive, this may be a good place to start. Someone with average mechanical skill that looks for safe and effective plays is almost always better than someone who is very mechanically gifted but makes risky plays at the expense of their life. Now, this does not mean you should always adopt this passive playstyle. Making safe and effective plays is part of the balance of knowing when to be aggressive and when to dial it down a notch. For example, a Zarya player with an average energy of 0% that manages to stay alive for over a minute during an extended team fight will end up contributing more to the fight compared to a Zarya that averages 60% energy but dies in the first 5 seconds of the fight. You also lose out on the bubble utility, psychological presence that I spoke about earlier, and the ability to create space for your teammates. As soon as you die, your energy goes back to 0 anyways, and you're out of the fight for over 10 to 30 seconds depending on where your respawn location is. That is 10 to 30 seconds of doing absolutely nothing. This actually ties into why Mercy and Resurrection is a very tricky ability to balance in a game like this, since it basically cancels out that period of punishment for your death, but we'll save that for another video. Now, to tie this all together, let's look at some actual numbers to really put it into perspective. The example I'm going to use here is the Assault maps, also known as 2CP, which arguably isn't most people's favorite game mode. Why is that? Well, this is mostly due to respawn distance advantage defenders have on the second point of Hanamura, Lunar Colony, Anubis, and Volskaya that allows them to come back faster and stall. For the average hero without any sort of crazy movement ability, it will take a defending hero a maximum of 8 seconds to touch the point upon respawning, versus a maximum of 21 seconds for attackers. The defenders have this net difference of 13 seconds in respawn distance advantage over the attackers. Therefore, trading 1 for 1 as a defender on this point ends up being so valuable because you can die for 10 seconds, come back out in 8 seconds or less and contest again, while the attacker you eliminated earlier needs another 13 seconds to walk back. Compile this with stalling heroes such as D.Va, Tracer, and Mei, and the defenders just keep flooding in and elongating the game until they inevitably restabilize the point. That means your life as an attacker is inherently more valuable, as trading a kill for a kill ends up being a minor advantage for the defenders. This is where the aggressive risk-taking players that look for that pick-off on the defending Mercy at the expense of their life is more heavily punished because she'll be back in the fight way faster than they will be. If you're gonna die as an attacker, you have to be sure to take down as many people as you can with you. Well, that's it for now. The goal of this session was to give you some insight onto how much your life is worth in a game of Overwatch and to kind of help facilitate a more calculated playstyle. My name is KarQ with the Acer Predator Training Room. Until next time.